What's up, YouTube? After a whole entire year, I could not find the solution. Taking it to the dealer, they wanted to charge me $1,000,000. So the hell with that. How to open this deal here when it won't open. So what I was getting was, at first, it wouldn't close all the way, and I had that 2-inch gap that everybody has videos about, where it wouldn't go all the way down and seal. So once I rode around like that for a little bit, and then it finally went down. The issue is that for the last 8 months, I haven't been able to get it to open back up. So the seats would go forward, the windows would roll down, but then I would just get a metallic click, click, every time I hit the open. Click, click, and it wouldn't do anything. This wouldn't go up, that wouldn't, nothing would happen. It would just click, click, click. So I spent the last 8 months trying to snake through the little compartments there. And the only thing you can get, see, there's no access to the inside of this. This is all frame. This is all frame. You cannot get to this hole here from this. You can't. The most you could do is your hand will come out of one of these two holes there, and you'll scratch your forearms all to hell. That's the best that can happen. And that only gives you access to this little hole, which I thought that if I messed around with it enough, so you can actually see all the scratches from 8 months of me trying to fiddle around with various screwdrivers and whatnot to trigger the little mechanism in here to get it to open. Because I knew the top would function correctly if I could just get it to let go of this deal. And it was just not letting go of it because it wasn't actuating in here, right? So there's one thing in all of my research that was very, very hard to find. So I'm going to show it to you guys. Is this mechanism. And I'm going to give you a little bit of time to look at it so that, because as I was looking and trying to find it, okay. All right. So the issue is that I wasn't able to trigger. So, of course, I don't want to insult anyone's intelligence, but the way this works, of course, is the bar comes down into here and trips that and locks it, and that lets the thing know. The issue was that it wasn't letting it go, okay? And you would hear that. That's the noise. That's the noise you're hearing. It will not open. So it's doing that, but it's not releasing it all the way, okay? The functionality of this thing closes all the way. As such, I'm trying to do this as fast as possible. I'm trying to make it like at least a 10-minute video, no longer. But it's important that everybody sees how this mechanism works so that you're understanding it. Now look at this, guys. Hold on a second. So anyway, back to what I was saying here. Clearly, this guy's missing a spring. Okay, so that's part of the reason why that this guy isn't ejecting all the way up to release the top. So I'm going to replace the spring. But look at this, guys. Look at that. I don't know if you can see it, but all of those scratches, that's 8 months of me reaching through that little hole that I showed you. This little hole is the only thing you have access to, trying to trigger something within this mechanism to release this guy right here, okay? And as you can see now that I'm aware of it, the best I could have ever done, and looked like I already did it, I bent that. So this bracket is at a 90 degree, and this one's bent up. So that's from months and months and months of me sticking a screwdriver through that little hole over there and pushing that up. The problem is I probably needed to, maybe it would have worked if I would have gotten here and pressed this, but I'm not going to tear it up anymore. I got to unbend that and put another spring there, okay? But this is the mechanism, guys. Everybody needs to see what this thing looks like. The only way I could have seen the screwdriver trick work is that you bending both of those prongs up. You have no access from there. What I was trying to do is at least like somehow get a hold of that, somehow trigger something here. There's no access to any of this. Okay, so this is how I was able to get this thing released. I had to gingerly put this under the seal as gingerly as I can without scratching. So check it out. No, we are very I am, because I'm not going to beat the hell out of my Z, right? So I'm very particular about the scratches and stuff that I put. So I was very meticulous in putting this under the top. Okay, under the top. Then I did this. All right, and I did that. I parked it ever so gingerly under my garage, hooked this in up, and I just ratchet strapped it. I mean, I was desperate. I haven't been able to get my top open. Nissan here in Austin was talking about we're gonna have to break some panels, but whatever we break, we're not gonna pay you back or find new parts. It's an old car, they don't make it stuff, so we can get it open, but we might break a lot of stuff to do it. I'm like, nah, I'd rather have it stuck down or stuck up than down. So it was cool. You know, people got hard tops and all that, so it's cool. I'd rather have it stuck down. I'm not gonna agree to letting you tear my car up. So anyway, fast forward. I ratcheted it, and the top pops. This came out of that. Okay, so it can be done. It's a very, very forceful process, but I was able to ratchet it up, and boom, the top came up, and then it started acting right. But then I went back to the issue of it not wanting to close, so it's stuck. Okay, that brings me over to here. The reason why, so it works like this. Let me get this on the floor here. Okay. All right. This motor sends this bar back and forth. So it forces the top down to go those extra couple of inches down, and it pulls it back to release the bar. That bar, okay? The issue is that this motor and this little cable here was too far out, and it was bunched up, and it wouldn't allow, it doesn't allow it to retract backwards. All right, that was the issue. This was stuck in its maximum capacity out, and so when the car is doing that click, click, this is trying to function correctly, but this is too far out to let it go back down. So that's the issue. So the only way that you're going to be able to get that out is I had to pry this up. I had to pry it up using this mechanism here. And once I got it up, I was able to take this out. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put everything back in here, because this cable, it actually came all the way out. So once that happened, I had to put it back in. It was pretty simple. You drop these two screws, this plate comes out, and you're able to reseat this. And with the 9-volt battery trick, when you're trying to reset this thing, when it's in, it works. So I was able to put the 9-volt battery in, reverse the polarities, and make it go in and out. So now the only thing I need to know is what's the factory set length that it needs to be out when I connect this back. Okay? So that's the issue, guys. You cannot access this hole and do anything with those mechanisms from the inside of this car or the trunk, because it is solid. There is no way of getting in here. There's no holes. That is the only hole you're going to have. So unless you're willing to go in and cut the whole back half of this car, I don't know if that's going to jeopardize any of the structural integrity of it all, but I'm not taking the hacksaw to crap. Okay? I knew it had to be a way. So I pried it up. It will come up. Then the issue is going to be this guy right here. How far is it retracting? How far is it contracting? The issue was it was maxed out, and it wasn't allowing this mechanism to travel back, which is going to release that bar. It's this guy right here. This guy doesn't have a lot of moving parts. So anything that doesn't have a lot of moving parts is usually the last thing that's going to destruct. And this was definitely the case. That little hole that I was digging in for all this time is right here. It's all chewed to hell. You might not can see it, but that is months and months of screwdriving, flatheads, Phillips heads, all types of heads in there. And I was up against this thing that was just, it's kind of like you trying to get into a door that someone is leaning up against. That's exactly what that is. This guy's out too far. Then when I was able to get it closed at some point, I had it down like that. And usually what's happening when it won't close all the way is because this guy is either advanced too far, and when it's closed according to itself, your top is not timed right, and the bar is striking the top of this guy and not allowing your hatch to close fully. It's landing on the top of this, right? Or it is going in, but it's not reaching the deal. This switch right here is what tells the car that it's closed, okay? So it's not reaching that, and it's all because of this guy. If it's carrying too far or not carrying far back enough, that's causing all the issues. The little gap, the not actuating at all of that is this guy right here. So I just need to find out what the factory setting is, the length, to make sure it's timed correctly. So when the bar striker comes down, it hits, it triggers that, tells the car that the top is closed. I just need to know the proper length. So again, guys, just so you'll see the mechanism again. Thanks for watching, folks. Keep banging. Happy Zen.